And then we're gonna go live on Facebook.
Okay, I'm gonna hang up with you, Max.
Okay, text me, please.
Okay, bye.
Hi.
Hi, Lori, give me 1 second, please.
Okay, do we have Ven in?
Yes, give me 1 quick second, then I'm gonna return and make sure that everyone's in. Give me 1 second, please.
Okay. All right, get something. Ah, okay.
I'll be with you in 1 second. Lori, can you spell your name for me, please? L-A-U-R.
U-R-I-E
Uh-huh.
and Ramsey, R-A-M-S-E-Y.
Okay, we're gonna go live on Facebook in 10 seconds. Is all of your team admitted to Zoom?
Yeah, we're all here.
Okay. Let me double check to make sure that we are on.
Does that mean I can go back and watch this on Facebook?
Yes, and we are actually now live on Facebook. Hello, everyone. We will be starting shortly. Please hang tight. We're just making sure all of our trainers are on today, and the backdrop is from the day that we had our awards ceremony for 2020. So that's the Keller Williams backdrop in here, and we will start very shortly. Thank you so much for being patient. Lori, do you have anyone else that is trying to admit, or we're all here?
Yes, I believe Van is in. I can introduce him. Are you ready to start?
All right, we are ready to start on Facebook. Thank you so much, everyone. Today's session is with Lori Ramsey and her team, and without further ado, I will give you the mic. Lori, go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to introduce you all to our fabulous manager of customer service, Van, and he's going to talk with you about Title Toolbox and how to pull a net sheet when you go on your next listing appointment. Van?
Awesome. Thanks, Lori. Appreciate that. Just can we share my screen, Max, please? Share with the desktop one.
Absolutely. You have the option to actually share your own screen.
Okay, awesome.
Yes, you are an admin. You can go ahead and share.
Great. Okay, perfect. Okay, so thanks everybody for having myself, Lori, and the team of Clearmark Title. Just want to give you guys a little bit of a rundown, a little bit of introduction to our farming profile system, as well as net sheets. What I'll do is I'll just talk about it for a little bit here. You guys see my screen over here? If so, Lori, give me a heads up. Perfect.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So just a quick rundown of this program. It's a powerful tool. It's gonna help you, cement yourself in this marketplace to be able to farm strategically and correctly, and to deploy the most effective costs out there. So here's the the program with a little bit of what it does. So with this system, you really only have to do your forms once, meaning that once you save the form, it updates automatically every single week. So in other words, if somebody sells a house or buys a new house, then your form gets updated like that. Now, obviously, if your form is a certain area and there's no updates, then you're not going to get any updates, right? But if there is something that changes, you will get a notification via email, and your form will automatically be saved that way. Okay. Everybody here has access. If you want, again, reach out to Lori. You'll have access to property profiles on a nationwide level. Okay, so all the you can pull properties in Florida, Iowa, wherever you need for your clients own property outside of California, is all there as well. We discussed a little bit about the data and how it's saved, so that's in there. Geo Search, again, very similar. We are able to pull the farms just like that for you based on a geo area. So we can do let's say zip codes. We can do some agents want the whole cities. Some people want a certain neighborhood. So we can figure out how to do all that for you guys. And I'll show you a little bit of that today. Ultimately, we are here to support and to help you. So if there's anything you need, reach out to your rep, Lori, and she'll get with me. I'm happy to go one-on-one or in a smaller class even to help you guys answer questions while we go through this later on. So just let me know if that's something you guys want to do. Okay, so I'm gonna get out of this here, and we're going to go right into it. Okay, right into 1 second here. Perfect. Okay. So let me just log off, log on. That way it makes it a nice clean session. So this is what it looks like when you log on. It's gonna be clearmarktitletwobox.com. Hit the login button. You should have your credentials here. If not, input them, and once we log in, you'll have the left side of the screen will be a map. The right side, on this side, once you have data, it'll give you like a spreadsheet, a spreadsheet that you can be interactive with, and I'll show you that later. Let's start with property search, which basically means profiles. Okay. So I went ahead and pulled a listing that you guys have in your office or the Calabasas office recently. So we're going to use that as an example. So to do a property profile, you hit property search. Property search will bring you to this box here. And what you want to do is you want to let it auto complete. Okay. So you start typing in the address. Okay. And it will start filling in for you. Okay. And what I'm looking for is this one here in Wetneca. Once you have that highlighted, click on it and hit search. Okay, that will bring up the property, which you will see, and it'll give you all the specs on the property that you need. Okay, so for example, once you're here, this is the map side I was talking about. This is the right side that has the data, the spreadsheet looking thing. You can always zoom, split the screen even more if you wanted to. So this gear icon is the activator for everything within this address or this situation right here, right now. You click on this, it'll take you to these couple of choices. Okay. If you're looking up quick information, and you need to find something about some property real quickly, you want to go to detailed view. Okay. And this would basically has a box you can click around here. Once it loads, I'll show you what it does. It tells you who the owner is right here. All right. And it also has a map on this side here. You can kind of see the aerial shot. You can kind of see the street view of it. You can zoom in, zoom out, however you want. Again, the owner's information is right here. Location, standard stuff, tax, property, gives you the specs of the property, 3 beds. Okay. The bathrooms, sometimes the assessors don't have it on there. So then that's where the data is pulled, but no big deal. We can figure that out pretty easily. Sales, here kind of has the transaction data going forward. You can also click on these links. These are hyperlinks, meaning that if you click on them, you can actually get the actual document, right? So this is great for information if you need to verify vesting, or if you have a client that wants to put it into a trust and need a copy of their grant deed, this is where you would get it. Okay, financing portion of it. This tells you the loans that happen. We can tell that this person just refied recently, and it was in last year with this loan amount and the lender. Okay, it's in a trust. That's what the borrower's name is. It's in a trust. And you can also check on foreclosure data. If there is any, this will show up. At risk basically means foreclosure again. It will have that right here as well. So if you missed a payment or whatnot, they would be able to figure it out, and they'll see that over here. Okay, let me back up and go to show you what the property profile looks like. So this is something that you can take on a presentation, listing presentation. You can use the guts of it into your own presentation if you want. You don't have to use ours. Just click on this, and it takes you to the comp setup. So here, what you could do if you wanted to, was you can adjust the comp. Sometimes, especially commercial properties or vacant land, you're not going to get many comps. So you can always adjust the distance, the beds and bath plus or minus, square footage plus or minus, percentage, length of time that it was sold, and so on, right? But we're just gonna leave it the way it is for now because it seems to be fine. And this gives you, here are the comps, right, that happened, okay? But once you click the generate profile, it will be part of the profile as well. So let's give it a second here for it to do that. And Max, if there are any questions on Facebook, I'm not monitoring it. So if you have any questions on Facebook, please stop me and let me know.
Absolutely. As of right now, there's no questions. Please go ahead and post your question on Facebook. Sometimes there will be a small delay for the questions. So if we didn't see them at the moment, we'll eventually get back to them. But as of now, there's no questions. So thank you very much for asking, and I'll let you know if there's anything happening.
Okay, sounds good. Typically, this is a lot quicker in terms of the way the profile is pulled. I think because we're live streaming and there's a lot of data being used, it does take some time sometimes. Usually it's pretty fast, not instantaneous. Don't forget, this is a web-based situation, so we are pulling data off the internet. Okay, so it's completed. We'll click on the click here to view your report button, and that opens up the property profile. Okay. You guys that are in the business before and or even the newer agents should be able to recognize this. Tells you who the owner is. Again, property characteristics. Again, 3 beds, 2 baths. So we figured out the bathroom, square footage right here, lot size, year built, what use code it is, what zoning it is. It's all here. Okay, recent loan and trust again. Who sold it to who? Where did it go? It's all here. Okay. Just go down a little bit more just to show you a couple other parts of this profile. Again, there's a lot of transactions on this property. Whoa. Okay. Okay. This even gives you the loan scenario based on the how much principal and interest they're paying per year. It gets pretty intense. Here's the comps map. Okay, notice that everything here is blue, which means that there are full transfers arm's length, meaning that they were sold at some point. Short sale would be in green, orange would be in REOs, and then red is distressed sale. And this is good to know, right? When you're out there with your clients doing this presentation, they're gonna know about these distressed sales, right? Those the person you're interviewing. So just make sure you know it as well, why it's sold for a certain price compared to everything else, right? Because that's gonna help your story. Okay, perfect. Okay, so we're done with that. I'm gonna close out of it there. I had a request. You can also do a single page profile. That's just a very condensed version of it all. Now, I had a request for a net sheet. So net sheets, this is something that is also in the system, and is great because somebody could be that you're interviewing wants to know how much they're gonna net on the deal, or what they need to get to bring in, and so on to make this transaction work. Simply click on the icon again, and you can go to net sheet. Okay, or if you didn't go through this whole property search profile situation first, you can actually just type it up here in this area and hit net sheet. So why don't we just do that? Just because 8023 Irondale. Okay. Again, let it fill in for you. Autocorrect. Click it, and then hit net sheet. Perfect. And here you can put your, your client's name up here. It automatically pulls the encumbrances of the property, so they know how much or what's owed on the property to kind of give you an estimated net sheet. Obviously, if you were in a deal situation and you needed something to be more concrete, nothing's going to get more concrete than escrow, right? So just keep that in mind. But this is a good good indicator or just the first steps for somebody to understand where you need to be. Everything here, for the most part, is changeable. Okay, you can change if this sales price to you is low. It's just an AVM value. You can change it. If you think it's worth $650, put that in there. Okay, we can adjust taxes based on the tax rate up here. You can change your closing costs if somebody was paying for somebody's closing costs, or if you knew your title policy beforehand, you can put that in there. These are all just stuff that they generate automatically, right? HOAs, if there is one or don't have one, obviously you can remove it. Same thing with home warranty and so on and so on. And again, it should not be spinning like this. It's just spinning, I think, because we're just live and it's taking a lot of data. Normally, it's done really quickly. Once it stops spinning, I'll hit the download PDF button. Okay, good. Went blank again. Okay. So here we are again. Hit the download PDF button. Assuming everything is going to be the same and we're leaving everything the way it is, right? You can also adjust the commission if you needed to. If you're giving something back, or that the listing agent or you're only listing for a smaller, a lower amount, 1% or something like that, you can always do that. I'm not going to change it because I don't want it to spin anymore. But if you hit download PDF, it's going to put into a nice looking format that you can take to your listing appointment, right? Or you can email it directly to your client as well. So either or. Just give it some time. As you can see, at this sales price with this loan amount and all the fees, this property will net roughly $293,000, right, after all said and done. So that's a good sell. Okay, here we go. It's done, and it comes up here. You hit click to view PDF, and look at that. It has a net sheet that is presentable, is readable. People can understand it. What their net here is, what their escrow fees are, the smaller fees. It gets rid of all the other mumbo jumbo numbers. That way, it's understandable, right? What the commissions are right here, what the encumbrances are, right, and other expenses, which is just this stuff here. So yeah, take that with you for your presentations or your listing presentations. All right. Well, finally, this we're going to go with the farming aspect of this presentation. Before I move on, any questions on the net sheet, Max?
So far, we are all good. No questions on Facebook yet. If you guys have any question, please post them on Facebook and we will get to them one by one. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay. Well, that's all standard and good. But at the end of the day, right? How we're gonna get listings? How we're gonna get make net sheets for people that are gonna sell or buy a house, via us, right? As agents. This is where we're gonna get into farming. So nowadays with farming, it's we can get very sophisticated. We can get very down to the nitty gritty. We can figure out what properties are worth beforehand. We can figure out next sellers. That's just a free lead. A next seller by definition is every neighborhood, every area is different. So depending on where it is, it's going to be a plus or minus years of ownership on average that people sell in that particular area, right? So we can explain that a little bit more. Like, let's look at condos, right? So for example, condos, typically an ownership in condos, usually that's like a starter home, starter family home. It'll be maybe 5, 6, 7, 8 years at most, right? They'll probably have a child, or if not two by that time. Then they'll need more space. And if they need more space, then they're going to move. So that's kind of how that falls into that situation, right? So keep that in mind. There's also something called empty nesters. Empty nesters are a huge benefit, especially with the Proposition 19 coming out. They can now move that money or that tax basis to anywhere they want in California, right? The nice thing about empty nesters too is that we know there's equity. So to qualify for an empty nester, you need to have 30 years plus ownership, and you need to have 3 beds, 2 baths, right? Empty nesters means exactly what it sounds like. People are living there. Their nest is empty because their kids are now in college, or even older now, even have their own kids or whatnot. So with that said, a lot of empty nesters, again, will qualify for Proposition 19, where they can actually take their tax basis and go to Palm Springs or move up north to be closer to grandkids, or wherever they want to go. Okay, before it was tied to a certain number of counties. Now they can go anywhere they want. Okay, the other one that we can help isolate to is out of states, right? Out of states is great because these clients, these homeowners are out of state, that live in Iowa and Chicago and Florida and Nevada. They don't get the attention that the people out here are getting because they're just not local, right? So some agents don't want to spend time on them because they feel like it's a waste of time. Well, it isn't, because once you are there for them and you can help them with either checking out the property, making sure it's still standing, or if they wanted you to go check and make sure that the grass is cut or whatnot. A lot of homeowners nowadays, especially now, they might not want to be landlords anymore, right? They with everything that's happening in the world with COVID-19 and all the moratoriums being passed, maybe they don't want to be landlords anymore. So with that said, reach out to them, reach out to the absentee owners, but more importantly, reach out to the out-of-staters, because they don't have a resource usually, right off the back of the hand. Instead, they can reach out to you if you reach out to them, and they can ask you any questions, right? Everybody that's in California knows the market, sort of, or at least we all think we do. With that said, somebody in again, Florida, Chicago, they're not going to know, what's going on out here. So you can be a resource, you can be a guide to them with the real estate endeavors. Okay, so let me start with the farming then. If there's no questions, what we can do first is, if somebody's starting out new and they wanted to farm either a newer area, or they wanted to start farming, just farming in general, right? How do they do that? Someone's gonna say, Lori, I want to farm all of LA County. I get that a lot, and that's very ambitious. Just keep in mind that whenever you send out a postcard, for example, and let's just use 50 cents as an even number, there's probably, I don't know, 10,000 minimum in LA City alone. I mean, 50 cents per mailer, that's $5,000 in just mailing itself, right? So just keep that in mind. What I like to see newer agents or at least agents that start a farm go anywhere between the 250, 300 range of houses to market to, because that way it's manageable. You can do your 8x8 that KW teaches you, right? You can be top of mind 8 weeks straight. Either you're mailing, either you're sending out something else, or you're phone calling, or you're texting, emailing, dropping stuff off. That's all manageable, right? Because it's not that large of a number, and it's more cost effective as well. So keep that in mind. Okay, and then how do you find, like, say an area in all of LA County that's going to be a high turnover ratio for people, right? So what I'm going to show you now is this button up here. It's called statistics. Statistics, they just launched this button, and to activate it, just hit statistics, right? You can either go radius, boundary, area search. For this example, because we're trying to go after a specific area, we hit area search, right? And let's use Winnetka, for example, okay? Once you're in here, just make sure these fields are all matching to where you need to be. California, Winnetka's in Los Angeles, okay. Okay, so what the system just did was they pulled 61 different tracks. Now, the way the system pulls tracks, I can't explain how it's done yet because, you know, like where I live in Orange County, we have track names, we have track numbers. These don't really work that way, I don't think, because you know, like you see here, there's just 4 units, you know, in that track, which doesn't really make sense. But typically, what I do is I'll sort the unit numbers to get the highest of it all. And then you can see that, look, this specific group, okay, number 1 over here, let's use number 2. Okay, I don't know where number 1 went. So number 2, you see that it's highlighted in green when I go over it. It tells you that there's 11 sales in the 115 units in there. Okay, that's pretty good. That's really good actually, and it's probably a condo complex, is my guess. I'm not too sure. I'm not familiar with the area. But you know, you can always actually, yeah, it is a condo complex. So you can see that, right? And then you can always click on the gear icon. You can always go to select, and then it'll take you to this section that is part of. So for somebody that wants to find a higher turnover ratio, what I'll do, what I suggest you do is use the statistics, right? Do the search for the area that you want to be in, right? And then what you want to do is you want to start looking for the high turnover ratio. The higher the better, of course. But at the same time though, you know, like for example, number 4, if I can find it on the map, let's see. The 4's over here. So what I would do is, because 4, for example, has 94 homes, but if you wanted to add more to this specific area, then you would look up 55 and then look up, you know, 46 to kind of get this whole area. Does that make sense? Because for some reason, the system didn't group all this to one area. And again, it's probably the track numbers. But in LA, I don't think there's like a track name like we have here in Orange County. So, but that would be the suggestion I can give you to kind of zone in on a certain area. Because remember, you're going to want to walk it. You're going to want to know the restaurants. You want to know the parks. You want to know how many pools there are if there's an HOA. How many HOAs are in the building? How many you know, who moved recently? This is all stuff that you need to do to know, to be an expert, right? Because when you're talking to somebody, they're going to ask you these questions, and if you don't know the answers, you cannot confidently have a discussion with somebody that's going to ask you questions about the neighborhood or the house, you know, the area, when you're trying to sell them, you know, their largest asset for most people in their lifetime. And you got to have those answers for the most part. That's how I feel. Okay.
Quick question, Ben, from
Yes.
one of our agents wants to know if they can pull up addresses and phone numbers. Thank you.
Yes. So addresses and phone numbers, and I'll get to that. I'll show you how to do that in a little bit. But yes, the answer is yes. You can pull addresses and phone numbers. They are considered our premium data portion of the site. Now, phone numbers are 5 cents a record. Emails are 7 cents a record, and these is a great resource, right? Especially the emails. If at very least, you know, if you live in an area, you know your own neighborhood or whatnot, you get their email addresses. You upload all those email addresses up into Command. Now you're marketing. right? Once a month, 2 times a month, whatever you have set up on your smart plan to be able to do that. And that's just passive. Gives them a market update. They have the link that they can click on. If they click on the link, you're notified. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful system, right? Phone numbers, same thing. So again, because if you're keeping it between the 300, you know, and not really going more than those records, it's really not that expensive. That's 21 bucks if all data is available to begin with. So keep that in mind. That's a great question. Any other questions before I drill down and move into more close by farming, targeted farming?
No, that was the only question. And yes, that would be great if we can go into details later on. That would be really great. Thank you so much, Ben. No questions for now.
Perfect. Okay. So again, let's go back and this time, this is the farming tab, right? Nice thing about farming as well, Lori or myself, we can actually do your farm for you if you need help, and we can actually email the farm to you. That way you turn your computer, you log in, and the farm's right there, right? You don't even have to do anything. Is that simple? But you know, we can discuss that later on. So to do a farm, whenever someone says, hey, Van, I want to farm around, you know, my new listing, no problem. So what do? You know, I would use the boundary search or the radius search. Radius search gives you, you know, the 250, 300 around certain areas. I like boundaries because that way I can draw around it. I can keep the homes similar to what they are already, so to speak. So let's just click on boundary search, for example. Go to continue. And I'm going to use the same address again. Okay. The key here, sometimes it's confusing. I know they should move this bar just a little bit lower, is you need to put the address into here, not up here, into this one, the one that's on the map. Okay. Again, 8023 Irondale. It fills it in for you. Let it do so. Click on it, and it takes you there. Okay. So if I was farming this particular neighborhood, for example, and what I'll do is hold on, what's going on? Okay, you know, I would typically keep it, you know, within here, these borders. That way I can walk it. That way, if I'm marketing to it, it stays nearby. But if you wanted to go out more, obviously you can do so. And I'll show you, if you're gonna do that, what you need to be focusing on instead of sending it to everybody. Okay, but let's just for this exercise do this boundary farm. You click, make a square. Okay, you can even come to this street if you wanted to and do that. But basically, once it closes, this area here is what your farm records are gonna pull out. Okay, hit next. Now it's calculating. It's gonna tell you what the farm's gonna look like. Okay, so a couple of things. You can, if it's a house, you want to stay with the houses, you know, leave SFR. If you want to do condos as well, leave it on. If you want to get rid of condos, you can always click it out. So for this exercise, if I hit get count, it tells you how many I just highlighted in that area for these two property types. Okay. And so 932 properties. As you can see, that's a lot of properties. If you get out of the condo, they keep it just SFRs, then they'll tell you, get count again, I'll show you how many are there. There's 857. So there weren't that many condos, okay, to begin with. A couple more other filters that you can utilize here is if you go back to general, okay, you can select, right now has everybody, owner occupied and absentee owners, which also means that there's renters in those absentee owner properties. If you want to go just owner occupied, you hit yes, and they'll give you that. Hit get count, it'll be just owner occupied now. There will be no absentee owners at all, no renters, okay? So that's another 100 off, okay? Let's go back to off for this case. Now, in this custom filter is where you have the leads I was talking about earlier, empty nesters, out of states, and next sellers. So in this situation, again, there are about 900 properties, 800 something without condos. If you go to next seller, okay, and you go and you hit just next sellers, now you're just gonna get, and you filter this, now you're just gonna get all the properties in that section that you highlighted, that the system thinks has a very high likelihood of selling due to them being in a neighborhood for a certain amount of time. Look at that. Now you have 42 properties to market to. So what does that mean? That means that instead of spending one postcard to the 900 homes that you got from that farm, why not focus on these 42? Send them a postcard every week. Send them a newsletter the next day. Drop something off. Remember, these are more likely to sell based on math and algorithm and all that good stuff, right? I mean, the computer is telling us this is what they think it's going to sell. So instead of going after somebody that most likely won't sell, and it could be a multiple of reasons, right? It could be because they just bought recently. It could be they don't fit this criteria or whatnot, and we can sort all that out. We can tell you if how many homes in that area that we selected, how many are just purchased a year ago, 3 months ago even, right? So obviously they're not selling. You got to be 2 years to get your capital gains to write that off. So most people won't sell before 2 years unless they have to, right? That's the tax advantage, and knowing that it gives you an advantage as well. But yeah, so next sellers is there. If you wanted to see how many empty nesters are in this section, same thing, hit get count, and it gives you 200 properties. So 200 properties in that 900 plus properties are either paid for or really, really closely paid for, paid in full, which is good. They have equity. They can move, they can entertain offers and so on and so on. So keep that in mind. Again, marketing to this group, knowing that they can move at the drop of a dime if they wanted to, it's not a bad idea. Okay, so let's change this back to all. Now, out of states, how many people? How many addresses here do we think are out of state? Let's find out. 23 properties. Again, spend your time and effort on these 23 as well as everything else that I'm showing you, but more so with this group, because one day they can say, hey, you know what? I'm over the tenant situation, or something happened that's life changing in my family. I need to sell the property. Instead of going through Facebook and Yelp to find a realtor, you're the person that sent them a postcard that told them about this. You're the person that reached out to them when no one else did in California, when they're in Ohio, for example. Okay, so keep that in mind. Now, those are the three very, very utilized leads out there for our clients, and they're free, right? They don't cost anything, right? They're just already filtered out. You would download the list, for example, and you can start mailing, or you can even buy, their phone numbers and whatnot. And I'll show you how to do that real quick right now. So get count again. We're going to go back to this 200 here. In Premier Data, right here, is where you would go get the phone numbers. So Premier Data, and then phones and emails, right? You can click on the phones and emails, hit get count. I'll tell you what it would cost. Now, keep in mind, okay, for 202 properties at 7 cents a piece is about $24.24. Now, keep in mind, there's not going to have everything. Not every record is going to have a phone number or an email, right? That's just what's available for public data, okay? And that's what they pull. So the way it works is they'll do a temporary hold on your credit card for this amount, but it's going to drop off in a day or two, just like a restaurant. It'll drop off in a day or two, and then it's going to be posting the correct amount after they deliver those those phone numbers and emails to you. Now, it's going to be about an hour at most. I will leave it an hour just because it's always pulling out data, scrambling, getting the data for you. But it can be as quick as 10 minutes, right? But I will wait it out and see as it updates. But let's say you only got 100 properties, 100 phone numbers, for example. Then that's only going to be $5, right? They're going to refund you the $24.24, and they're going to charge you for the $5, just like a restaurant, except that you actually get money back, not in a restaurant where you actually add the tip onto, for the service. Okay, so that's that portion of it. Yes.
Sorry to interrupt you, Van. one of our agents wants to know how accurate are the phone numbers and emails that you guys provide? Thank you.
That's a great question. My experience from it personally, I haven't had any complaints, and the vendor. So I just want 100% clear. This system is a third-party system. We utilize it ourselves internally, but we also are able to give this out to our clients. But we have nothing to do with them in terms of the data that they do get. Now, how accurate it is, they're telling me the same thing. They haven't got any complaints, and for the most part, if the phone number is pulled, and they only give you one, right? If you go to like other sources like registries or fast people search, those type of services, they'll give you like 6 different phone numbers. This system gives you one phone number, one email, and for them, I don't know what they do, how they do it, but it pulls the most recent phone number and email that has an activity. That's how it's explained to me. So again, haven't had any complaints on it. And you know what? For 5 cents, 7 cents, record, I give it a try. Right? You got to be doing something outside of what everyone else is doing nowadays to get this business.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you for answering.
Great. Thanks for the question. Okay, so I also want to show you guys one more thing real quick before we end this. Let me just go back to this here again. Okay. So now again, we have this section picked out. Now, what if you said, Van, I don't know if marketing there is worth it for me. Well, let's find out, right? So we hit get count again. It's gonna pull up all the numbers, which is 881 properties. Okay, remember I moved it a little bit, so it came out a little bit less. If you hit download and view records, this will bring up the right side of the screen where the spreadsheet looks like. It's gonna bring all that up. So it gives you all the data. Okay. And then what happens here is there's going to be a statistic option. So it tells you what the turnover ratio is in this specific area that you've highlighted, right? This could be your farm. This could be your listing around your listing, whatever that is that you feel like, should I not just send out a postcard just as a postcard, but also continue marketing to them? Is it worth it? So hit dynamic stats right here. So here's the map that we highlighted. This is the Excel spreadsheet data here on this side. Dynamic stats right here. Hit this button. It'll give you a 12-month snapshot of what sold here, and then even gives you back a 60-month look back. So this area here is a 5.68% turnover ratio. There were 50 sales with 881 units, including condos. Okay, that's pretty good, right? 10% of that is what, 5, right? So that's something to consider right there, right? And then this tells you how many are non-owner occupied. So how many are renters there, right? This is something that you can promote to a buyer. Be like, look, I think this is a great family neighborhood for you. There's a lot of homeowner, a lot of private ownership. It's only a very small amount of renters. Some people, go off that type of data. Tell them that, right? It doesn't hurt. Gives you the trends of what happened in the last 5 years, right? But this here is really good. I think 4.5%, 4.5%. It might be even lower now. Before was considered a really good ratio, but now given that the inventory is even lower, we're gonna have to adjust that down a little bit. But I would say anything over 4, I would say there's some activity there, right? So keep that in mind. So that's that portion. Now, this system, again, is very user-friendly. If you guys use any type of marketing services, Michael Lewis, for example, or I forgot the other guy, Scott Leroy, for example, or your own mail house, you can always come up here, export to CSV Form, and that basically gives them this whole thing here into an Excel file. You forward that file to your mail house, they'll print it on, and then you're good to go. Right. A couple other options are labels, right? If you were to do this yourself and you wanted to print out labels, this puts it into a label format for you. So you don't have to do anything. Let me just show you that real quick. it always addressed to the mailing address of the listing, of the property, because the person owning it might not be living there, right? So keep that in mind. You can always change it. You can also always add current homeowner to it if you wanted to. You can always add future homeowner if you're going to send to residents, to renters, and your list was filtered to absentee owners only, for example. But let's just, for this example, do this, leave it this the way it is, hit go, give it a couple of seconds. I'll just, let's go back to this real quick. While it's loading, I'm just gonna continue here. You can always, do like a 5-line, 6-line format. You can do a walking form. You could, if there's an agency that want to walk when you're allowed to go and meet your neighbors, you can do that. This walking form basically puts it into a format where it tells you where to walk door by door, and it ends and begins at the same entry and end point. That way, you're not walking here to here, here. You're going like this, right? Just like that. Just the way it's supposed to be. Okay. If you go to export, which I just did, you can see the labels are done. Put in the labels, hit print. Now you're good to go. You have your mailings all set up to go. What else? I think that's it with this program. You guys have any questions? I know it's a lot of information. Again, Lori's here to help you. I'm here to help you. If you guys need something done, first thing, I think the most important thing is, if you don't have access to this program yet, let Lori know so that she can set you guys up. At the same time, we can always type into Facebook, let people know that I monitor that as well. So I'm happy to be able to get you, your account set up as well.
Thank you so much, Ven. No questions for now. Lori, would you like to add anything today, Lori?
Yes, I'd like to thank Ven so much. You make it look so easy. So thank you very much. You always mention something that I had totally forgotten about. So thank you for that. And if anybody has any questions, please contact me. Lori at clearmarktitle.com. Thank you, Max. Thank you, Ven. Thank you, Keller Williams.
Thank you so much, Lori, and thank you everyone who joined. I'm just giving the Facebook group about 1 minute to see if anyone has questions. The session will be recorded, and you can view it again on our KW Shares Facebook page. But yes, for everyone who's asking, it will be recorded. It will be posted on this page on Keller Williams Shares. So as soon as we finalize this training, you can come back and watch it again. And just giving a couple more minutes to see if we have any questions, any other questions. Thank you so much, Lori. Thank you, Ven. This was very informative, very effective. And Ven, can you share your contact information with our agents in case they needed to reach out to you for an after question or any technical question?
Absolutely. I can't type it anywhere. I don't think so. Let me just give you my email address, which is spelled Ven, V as in Victor, E N as in Nancy, at clearmarktitle.com. And my phone number is 949-331-4343. Again, 949-331-4343. Send me a text. That's the quickest way to get a hold of me, and I'll get back to you ASAP.
All right, with that, we will conclude our session for today. Again, thank you, Lori, and thank you, Ven. Thank you for Clearmark Title. Please come back for all of our agents. Please come back to the KW Shares, and you will find the session posted over there. And we wish you all the best and wish you best of luck in your farming. Thank you and have a great evening.
Thank you, Max.
Thanks, Max. Talk to you soon.
Okay, leave meeting.